Hello?
Hello. Can you hear?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. All good.
Good morning or afternoon. What did you have for
Yeah.
lunch?
Some fried chicken.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tendies are just like chicken pieces.
Some tendies, yeah.
Tendies very good.
Oh, yeah. Larksa's like addicted to this place because they have poutine and
Oh.
I don't know, she's addicted.
Do you like poutine?
It's okay. It's a little messy
Yeah.
for my taste. Bedtime.
Have you had Canadian poutine?
I don't know. What's the
Okay.
difference?
Well, I mean, I think it's from Canada, so I wasn't sure like if, it's American poutine versus Canadian poutine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have.
Fair enough. I haven't either.
Ah.
So. I was just curious if there was a big difference myself.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Larksa.
Did she start a new WoW character?
Yeah, well, she had a priest that she was like leveling. That was already at 35 or something. So, yeah, she's going again, which I'm honestly surprised.
Leveling, nice.
Yeah.
Yes, she can get carried.
Yeah, priest is actually pretty good for leveling though. There's not much downtime. Like, you just always have mana.
That's good. Okay, my game's open, so ready whenever.
Yo, Bird Bomb, thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you, man. Is the audio okay, chat? Audio levels alright? Aha.
Yaha.
So what? We have 2 cinders, so we need 2 more.
2 cinders. Oh yeah. 2
yeah.
And then what is the Dark Soul? Huh?
Angel?
Oh, an angel. Oh, yeah. Where? Oh.
Will there be the thing you can destroy? Or are they just like...
I don't know. Oh yeah, it's right here actually. It's directly underneath them.
Oh.
Scary. Ew. Another one over here? Oh.
Yeah, looks like it. Oh, there's a good item right here. Although, you might not need it anymore, but...
I do.
There you go.
Oh, +4. Yeah. Let's go. Oh, I think I bought the slab and I just never used it.
Yeah. I'm down to go over to like the tower.
Yeah. Oh, I found oh, wait, no, I didn't. I lied. I thought it was the angel.
I killed the angel, yeah.
Okay, nice. There's a turtle somewhere spawning.
Turtle?
He's spawning like the holy runes underneath me.
Oh, gotcha.
Here he is. Yeah. Oh god.
I love this weapon so much. It's so good. I'm just doing so much damage now. It's like, this weapon is so good.
The weapon art's nuts. That is the weapon, right? The...
Yeah, there's like
God.
1,500 damage.
I wonder if this guy's gonna disappear at like. Seems like no. Okay.
Yo, what's up, Blanks? How's it going, man? How have the two gods runs been going? Oh yeah, do you want to do shared chat?
What do you think, chat? Do you want shared chat?
Yeah, we can leave it up to chat.
Yeah, I leave it up to them mostly. Press 1 in chat for shared chat.
No, I don't play on keyboard mouse. I'm a controller gamer. I do hate how like relevant KBM is for Souls speedrunning, at least some of the games. Like in Dark Souls 2, oh my god.
Alright, let's do shared chat. This is probably the last day of this anyways.
Yeah, sure. You want to invite me? Or do you want me? I could do it. Okay. No, SS cancel is fine on gamepad.
No.
Alright.
There we go.
Cool.
There we go. Fight each other.
Have fun with the disting.
Yeah.
So there is an ash normally at the top of the tower.
Oh man, I forgot that.
Yeah.
What is it for usually?
It's for great arrows and like maybe a great bow. It's like the Millwood stuff.
Yeah. Probably why I don't remember. I don't usually get the great arrow.
Yeah, there really isn't much reason to come up here.
Checking behind the tower. Remember those guys. Oh, Osiris Soul. Nice.
Have you seen the bow glitch in this game?
No, I don't think so.
No? Really?
I don't.
Okay, maybe I'll have to show you then. Just for fun.
Not like the Omega item toss.
No.
I think there was a bow glitch or a dragon head glitch is what it was. I think in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, yeah, that's a funny one. That got that's like only on console though or something. I think it's like really early version. Just the ash? Oh my gosh, another slab.
Another slab, dang.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna show Lobos the new Vilhelm skip.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're still gonna want to go through normally, I think, but. All right. Well, I guess we can make our way down.
Oh. Some dude's collar is floating in midair. Are there any other key items? Oh gosh, almost died.
Well, the one Vilhelm drops would probably be a key, right? Because he normally drops the contraption. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
This guy! I can't even hit him.
Good turn around.
Does this doesn't do fall damage, right? No.
Nah. Oh, would have been funny. Is there an item on one of these? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Honestly, at this point, all we really need is the cinders.
Archive? We need the archive.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. I think that's mainly it, though. All right, Vilhelm, skip time, Lobos. Let's do it.
Oh wait, is this the bridge thing?
No, it doesn't have to do with the bridge, but
okay.
it is this way.
Wait. Okay, this way.
Yeah.
That was going the wrong way for a second. I think you showed me the bridge skip before, where you just fall all the way down or whatever.
Yeah. All right, so
you pass the door then?
Mm-hmm.
Or just like into Friede fight?
It's past the door. So you need a weapon with a stance.
Okay.
So like a katana, I think, or should like have this? Something, yeah.
Broadsword.
Yep. And then all right, so you take your broadsword,
touch the
you come up to the ladder, and you block, and then like you block and then let go and press A, all like basically like simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but like right after one another.
What will happen if I get it right?
So you hold L2 the whole time.
Yep.
Tap L1, just tap it, and then press A like right after the tap. And if you do it right, you'll snap to the ladder, but you won't climb it.
Okay. I'm trying to do like block and then...
Or like press A after you let go of block. Like it's not too quick.
Okay. It's like when I press A, it's grayed out.
Oh, I think you got it? Wait, okay, so check. Do you have homeward bones on your bar?
I can. Let me see. I mean,
so you'll know if it works if they're grayed. They're grayed out on your item bar.
They're grayed out normally, aren't they?
No.
Because of the seamless?
No.
What?
Oh wait, actually,
well, I think they are grayed out.
I don't know, but okay, can you use a resin? Because those shouldn't be grayed out.
Okay, let me see. Oh, resin's grayed out.
Okay, so you have the glitch. And so now you basically run into this corner, and when your character starts like when your character starts going to the left, you jump.
Do I jump?
Yeah. It may take you a few tries.
When my character starts like
sliding to the left, you jump. Oh, I muted myself. When your character starts sliding to the left, you jump. Yeah.
Well,
my bad.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you made it.
I'm here.
Heck yeah. Okay. Okay. So now, heal up.
Oh shit.
All right. So now we're gonna walk into the bottom of the staircase, and then do a 180 and jump.
Okay. Stupid enemy that. Oh, it is stick click to jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I see. Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, friend. Okay. And so yeah, now
more.
yeah. Well, you can even you can get the bonfire and then like hit the lever and just
right.
Yeah.
More back. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is that ladder glitch used for other stuff?
Yeah, you can clip through a few things, but that's like the biggest use of it.
Wow. Like, how do you get out of that state?
If you rest at a bonfire, you'll get rid of it. Or actually, wait, do you? No, I don't think it does.
Probably.
Yeah, that should fix it.
I'm gonna try it again. Oops.
If you stand off to the side, it'll be like more obvious if you get the snap, but you can also just look at the resin.
Okay, I got it. There we go. I see. It's like, I could tell it was, the climb text was white like the whole time. For some reason, yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of tell when you get it through like a few different ways.
That's weird though, because like, the rest, interesting. You do have to just like immediately tap and like
it's like a 1 frame window or like 2 frames, I think.
Interesting. Oh, there we go. Oh wait, no.
You can also run towards the ladder and you can do a pivot turn and then press X like the moment you pivot, or A, but honestly I think that method's kind of, I'm not a big fan of that way. Because like every time you mess it up, it's like way more annoying to retry.
Yeah.
You can kind of just like spam with the block method.
But if you don't have a weapon or a weapon, right? Or like
I mean you can just buy, you know, like a short sword from the vendor, but
nice. Cool.
Yeah, I could show you. There's another skip we could do in the other DLC if you want to see it when we get there.
I want to see it all.
Okay.
All right. So we need to kill like notable NPCs too, though. So like the pyromancer and.
Well, yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I guess let's do this.
Hopefully I'm in the right spot. Nope.
Well,
that's okay. I felt like I was maybe a little too high up. And if only we found the cat ring.
Does that make it easier?
Yeah, cat ring is like having spook.
Right.
It's the same effect, so. Because in DS3 you actually get like increased lethal fall distance, unlike all the other games.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. What? Oh, we didn't even get the cave bonfire, huh? Or did you get it?
I think I got it, yeah.
Okay.
Not sure if that works for both of us, though.
It does.
Oh, okay. I guess it's your world, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Injected his bleed water into you. Is this guy special, bro?
I don't know. Kill him anyways.
Yeah. Oh. What the?
Damn.
Oh, Eon, thoughts about banana on pizza? Never had it. But generally, I don't like the idea of sweet on pizza.
Yeah, I had it when I was in Sweden. Just because everyone was going on about Ella's banana pizza. It was, it wasn't like bad, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't really even taste it. I don't know if it was because it was like cooked or what, but.
Yeah, pineapple for me is like, it doesn't add anything, but it doesn't take away either. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. Oh, is this where the pyromancer is?
No, I was thinking the where you have to drop down the tower in the wolf arena.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah. I remember. I don't even think we bother going up that ladder. It's just normally a slab anyways.
Slab, but yeah, it's not key.
I guess let's just go kill Grave Tender.
Yeah, who are we missing boss-wise? I'm trying to think. Did we get all the DLC bosses?
No.
I don't. Oh, hello.
We didn't get Friede yet.
Oh, right. Holy.
Oh, I'm gonna Sacred Oath?
Right. Hey, where'd he go?
So far away, oh no.
Wait.
Not this bullshit. Jeez.
Wow. Oh, Champion's Bones. Oh, that's for the, never mind. Arena, right?
We got, wait, no, we got the banner for the DLC.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, I'm ugly.
Okay. A long path now.
I just wanted to see how much damage I would do with the Lloyd's ring active. Oh, I wonder if I could use power with them. Oh yeah, we got a flame, didn't we? Flame?
I think so.
We did.
Yeah.
I wonder if it stacks.
10 faith.
542.
Oh, I'm gonna take his back. If I level 1 faith, I can use it.
Okay. I don't think it. I don't know if power within stacks with.
You can also check the transposition, because I don't know if you picked up Osiris's soul from behind that Millwood tower. I'm gonna go check.
Oh yeah. Wait, Osiris?
Yeah, his soul was
I didn't
behind
get that one.
tower.
So.
That's okay. Ooh, Sage Ring. And the
I need
Mirror
to get my slab going. Demon's Great Axe.
I don't know if it's worth. Well, I don't know if power within is worth using. Honestly,
let me level up my web.
Chameleon is definitely necessary, though.
Well, then take. Farewell, Ashenby.
Oh, I had a shard? Alright, let me run to the restroom and I'll be right back.
It's enemy and item randomizer. Oh yeah, we did get the storyteller staff though. Give me a hug, Lobos. Come here.
It's creepy, man.
I'm just giving you a hug.
Ugh. I want it. Ask me next time. Whee.
Alright, should we go kill Vilhelm? Evan, do you know how to do scream skip?
Scream skip. I don't think so.
Okay, we'll do it. Teach and Lobos all the skips on this run.
Oh. Did I get my faith? Oh, I did get faith.
Okay, so, see this rock I'm standing on?
Yes.
Yeah, so you want to jump. I'll show you how to do it first. So you want to jump on that rock and you'll slide along the cliffside, and then you want to jump the right time. Oh, a little too early. I think you want to jump like a little bit before the rock.
Oh.
Goodbye. Well, so you do that. I had there's too much pressure trying to show you. Yeah, but you get up the ledge.
Nice.
Yeah.
So though you kind of land without doing the roll, is that right?
Yeah. I don't think you have to like let go of the stick though. It shouldn't matter.
Keep rolling.
Or maybe you do have to let go of the stick.
I did it.
Oh shit!
I did it.
He's so good.
Easy. Next.
All right, surely I won't mess this up again now.
Yeah, sure.
That would be embarrassing.
Woohoo! Nice.
Yeah, it's called Scream Skip because it skips all the screaming birds.
Oh, oiled sword fragment. Oh, it's right here. Oh yeah, okay. What is that item usually? That would be a key item there. I don't remember.
I don't know. Infinite bone that we can't use. Hooray.
It is.
I guess it can be traded.
Oh, I guess it's not a key item. Yeah, it can be traded. So yeah, okay, that's right.
Oh yeah, you can jump up this little ledge too. I'm sure you probably know that though.
I don't think I ever did that one. I did the other one further up.
Oh, is there one further up?
Yeah.
To get past the gate?
To get past the gate. To get onto the roof.
Oh.
Still Croakwill. Where are you at?
I'll unlock the gate for you, buddy.
Oh, okay. It was this roof. That's what I'm talking about right here.
Ah, gotcha.
Usually the Corona beer, right? Way of white Corona. No items in there, though. I mean, no keys, right?
There's a tome.
Oh. Kick. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably just Vilhelm, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen your kind. Time and time again.
What the heck?
Every fleeing
What?
man must be caught. Every secret must be unfolded. Such is the conceit. Forgive me, my lady. Swear
Hi.
an oath. Lady.
Yo!
Oh, yeah,
Let's
there
go.
it is.
Waiting. Smash.
This thing can clip you through the floor.
Oh,
that
nice.
happened a few times. Not useful though. I mean, do we just fight Friede?
Well, are there powerful enemies in here at all? Like, are enemies that drop stuff? I think the Millwood Knights drop things.
There's a guy that drops a hammer, I think.
Yeah, in the
Like,
pit.
yeah.
Is he dropped or is it on the ground?
Oh, actually, maybe you're right. It might be on the ground. We can. There's like a drop spot up here, I think. Further up. Where is this guy?
Yeah, it should be up this way. Yeah. There's the pit.
We can go on the snowfall.
Ooh, Karthus Blood Ring. Hello. Yeah, I think this is the back in this corner. But it's just a soul. Or it's the axe. I don't know. Who knows?
I think we just go kill Friede then,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh.
Can maybe go activate the tree shortcut.
Yeah. That goes a long way. I think.
Where are you going?
To the Friede, right? Yeah.
Oh,
I'm running past where all the wolves are.
Oh, okay. I see. I just went down to the bonfire down here. Okay.
Oh, I see, I see. Yeah, I'll get the next tree, and then you can just come up there. Ooh, Chloranthy ring. Hello. Tree number 2 is knocked.
Wait, can I? Oh, fuck. I didn't activate the fucking... So far away.
Where are you? Wait.
Kind of far.
Oh. Oh, right. We need to do kill the pyro guy. I'm gonna spin the contraption.
Okay.
Oh. Drop times. Item worth?
No.
Oh. I just realized this is Priscilla's arena. I never noticed that. Oh, sorry.
Good fight.
That was a great item.
Yeah.
You have a ring of sacrifice?
Yeah.
You know what? Forget it.
We don't even really need levels anymore.
Nah. A pin. Wait, what about the frost ring? Oh, there we go. Ooh, nitro. I wonder if we're getting 3 phases.
Does the cutscene change? Probably not.
I don't think it changes in this. I think. Oh, actually, I think we're getting 2 phases. Ooh. Oh, are you? Oh man. So that other wyvern was
hit on him.
Sister Wyvern. That was insane. Fuck. Okay. Huh. Oh, nice.
What the?
Wait, the arena? Oh no, it did change. Oh, I'm crashing. Oh no, I didn't. I didn't crash. Where's the... Oh.
Maybe there isn't any...
I guess there's not. It's just about that. Alright.
What a legendary fight that was.
Insane. Wait, he's here now. Wait, what?
I don't know.
Wait, no, they're just spawning forever.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Alright. I'm out of here.
Did we get insane amount of souls?
I think we got like 80k.
Yeah, it's not bad. Ah! Found it. Ooh, Kaith is joining us.
Oh. Archives key.
Keep your marbles.
Yeah. Three singers. You get 4? Or is it 3? For some reason I was
We have
thinking it was
3.
3.
But we need 4.
We need 4? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Ow. Does the guy up here drop anything? I know the dagger is usually up here, but
I don't think so. But maybe.
The crab? Oh,
There is a few like NPCs in this DLC though that we'll have to kill. Like the lady in Gale's arena. I think there's also
Yep.
the lady that drops like the crucifix normally.
That's the same one, isn't it?
I don't know. I thought there's like a lady by some like window or like door.
Oh,
I don't know if that's somebody else.
the items from her. Yeah, whoever replaced the angel here, we probably gotta kill him. I don't know where they can live though. Yeah, I think it's the same person.
Oh, it is the same. Okay. Oh, and the pyromancer lady? Do we gotta kill her?
Pyromancer lady. Where?
In where like the FAP ring is? FAP 3? It's like down in the big swamp area, yeah. I don't know.
Pyromancer lady. Man, I don't remember. Pyromancer lady.
She drops like the... Well, yeah, the desert pyromancer like armor and stuff.
Oh, yes. Yeah. What the?
It's so satisfying just smashing everything.
Ooh, block.
I'm dead.
Oh, shit. Your health.
I got fucking... I got pinned by like a tiny little baby crab.
Oh, no. Never underestimate those crabs. Do we need lap for anything?
Who?
Lap? Patch?
He's
He's
I don't
over
know.
here. You talk to him. He moves and then... I don't remember. We can just kill him here. Probably. I don't think the key items can be missable, so any friendly NPC we could just kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Oh my gosh. He healed so much.
deserve this.
All right, nope.
Hey!
It's like, where the hell did he go?
Ow. I don't remember there being all these enemies. I got bleed watered.
Oh, I got butt gooped.
Wow. 6.
Hey, that's... What the heck even dropped 6 chunks?
I don't know.
I think it's from the wyvern, and
Maybe. A soul. Well, okay. I pushed you.
Whoa!
Oh my god. Wait, where's it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Ow.
Have you done the angel skip before?
Maybe the drop off, like.
No, no.
Mm.
Alright, I'll show you. This one might take you a few tries, but
Oh.
at least there's no angels actually shooting us. Okay. So you want to jump at the edge of this, but you need to let go of the stick like midair. So, or actually, wait, no. I don't know if you let go of the stick. Hold on. I'll let my muscle memory take over.
Sounds good. Oh god. Pitching a lot.
Yep, just like that.
Yeah, okay. Now what?
All right. Yeah, the jump timing is kind of ass.
I will wait.
Okay. So,
Oh,
yeah,
you made it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you basically jump onto the edge of like this, the cage. Yeah, yeah. And then you want to jump. Yeah, let me come back down. Were you able to see when I did it?
No, I was getting
Okay, it's all good. So you jump into this corner, but when you jump into that corner, you got to let go of the stick.
What,
So it's
the
like
first
2
jump
jumps.
or like the second jump?
The first jump,
Okay.
just so you don't roll.
Oops.
Why do you put him through this? Because it's fun.
Yeah, what the heck? And remember to hit the jump button in time.
The jump timing is a pain. Like, yeah.
Oh my god. You have to hit it early.
Listen, I'm teaching my friend how to go fast, all right? He's got this, chat. I have faith. Almost.
Do you have a good aim spot? I'm kind of just
Yeah, let me
randomly.
grab take my bow out. I can show you.
Okay. At the like.
So you want to aim
the corner there?
like right, like at the left side. Maybe yeah, like right around there.
Okay. All right.
You see where the arrow landed?
I gotta be right back. 1 second.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Majestic.
He won't be your friend anymore? What? Listen, Lobos used to speedrun, alright? He doesn't speedrun too much. I think, well, he ran Eternal Ring, last year? Listen, skips are fun, man.
You, Printman. I like man.
Yeah, I saw the bonfire storage stuff. I don't think it's actually really useful for anything, but it is cool.
Okay, sorry. All right.
Okay, no worries. All right, I will shoot the spot.
I think I
Yeah, you want to land like
there.
on like the left side of the cage.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And then, so the moment you land, you want to angle your stick to the right. Like this. Jump, let go, and then run forward and jump again.
If you don't do it in time, do you like slide down and off?
Yeah, you'll like slide off.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you got to jump like as late as possible.
Okay.
You may just not hit, like not hit the jump, but yeah, it's better to try to jump late. Listen, I'm teaching Lobos valuable information. He's totally gonna do all these skips the next time he plays DS3, surely.
Yep. Yep. Keep going slightly earlier, and it's still too late.
Oh, almost. You might need to jump a little bit more left. Still.
Okay.
You really want to like aim for the left side of it. Oh, almost. Okay. That was good. Just make sure to keep your sprint like held the whole time too.
Keep the sprint held. Okay.
Yeah.
I did let go of that. So just let go of the stick, and then once you
just let go of the stick once you jump.
Yeah.
And then once you land,
push to the right and jump again.
Yeah. Almost. You're
go like
there.
90 degrees to the right, or like angle?
Yeah, like angle with the wall, kind of.
Okay.
If that makes sense. There you go. Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Even with the, you got the roll, but nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! I knew we could do it.
Easy peasy. Oh, I keep hitching like Omega hitch. We gotta kill the pyromancer though, so I guess we'll warp back.
Super overweight all of a sudden. What? Why am I so fat? Wait, why am I so fat? I could have sworn I was light rolling with this. What the fuck?
What'd you do? Did you put a hat on? Oh, wait, you've had that hat on.
Yeah, I don't know. The bow? Yeah, but I don't... Oh, wait. Oh, my God. I can barely even see that thing.
What?
I had the Millwood Greatbow equipped, but it's like... I didn't even see it in the... Like, blends in with the background.
Oh, it's pretty thin, isn't it?
Yeah. Wait, where are we going now?
The pyromancer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Figure we might as well stay on top of things.
Mhm.
We need one more cinder, right? Any other keys here? Might.
Don't think so. Could be up here.
Is the enemy down below this? Is there a strong enemy or a powerful enemy over there?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a strong enemy or not.
Oh my god, they did insane damage. Got him. Boo. Is this where the FAP 3 is?
No.
Or is it below?
Yeah, it's below. We can also just get the keys from the bosses themselves, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the heck is that?
Oh, it's Friede, yeah.
Oh. Alright, I'm going on, old man.
Where is she?
Oh my god.
I'm also on old man. Oh, there she is. Wow. Okay.
That's okay. Let me hit you with my weapon art, damn it. I'm just spamming my weapon.
I'm just, yeah. I'm not trying to dodge at all. Nice. Nice. Okie dokie.
Yeah, definitely think
randomizers because the hardest areas usually become really easy comparatively.
Yeah. Frickin' what was it? Elden Rick? Whatever. That we got, or Horus,
Snail
Horaloo Snail.
Snail Warrior armor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elden Rick. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, so there is a skip here. I don't know. We can try it.
Is it like you die if you fail?
Yeah, kinda. Thing is, I'm not sure. We might need spook for it, or like cat ring, but we can try.
No cat ring, huh?
All right, so we want to do the glitch on this ladder here.
Okay. Oh, like there.
You don't have to be that close.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't popping up, so I wasn't sure.
Gotcha.
No.
Skip again.
There we go.
Okay, nice. All right, so then I barely even remember how to do this, so we might die. So you run into this and jump.
Okay.
And then from here, we need to get down. Oh boy. We need to get down to the ledge over here. Can we even do this? Oh god.
Oh.
Goodbye, Lobos.
Oh, there, I see.
Lobos. No.
Oh, goodbye.
Okay, yeah. Well, honestly, if we had spook, we could do this a lot easier. I don't actually know if we could do it without it, sadly. So
You
let's
just
go.
do that drop that we did, and you just survive it. Or?
Well, so there's two different ways you can do the skip. We did a different way that I'm actually not as familiar with. But yeah, I think we need spook, sadly.
That's okay. I'm gonna check in here.
You know about this skip?
Numbers? Where are you? Are you up the stairs?
To your left.
Oh. Nope.
Wait, can we we might die again.
Do you jump?
Yeah, just like over the rail, more or less. Goodbye. I also died. Damn it, yeah.
No.
You need fucking spook for all this shit, dude.
Ah,
Sorry.
that's it.
We have plenty of members.
Yeah. 27 there. Oh, I have 3 undead bone shards. Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oh, you're skateboarding again.
Hell yeah. What about like this? Does the big summoner guy drop something?
He normally drops a blessing, so yeah, he's probably a big enemy. Oh, a sludge.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I speak of thine kind, and
Oh yeah, Madeir's still there.
hope fear them.
Where?
Behind the lift side there.
Oh! I didn't know that I knew he was there. That's creepy.
Yeah. yeah, there's another invader here too.
Yeah.
Up on like one of the the higher up areas. Wonder what I can chameleon into here.
The sprite. Oh.
Oh. A statue.
I thought there was an item here. No. Ooh, a skirt.
Gotta go up the ladder down here, I think. I don't know where Lobos went.
Are you down below or?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's Zoe.
Is that up by you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Across the first bridge. Oh god, I'm lagging.
Yeah, I feel like you've been having a lot of
I don't know if it's
glitches,
just
you were saying, right?
outside or what, but yeah. Got so many Estus.
Met the
Oh, oops. Is that from the invader?
No.
Guy? Oh,
Go
I killed some guy.
He
He dropped it. I have no idea where Lobos is. I didn't even know you could get to the upper area from...
Almost there. She's at Estus now.
I don't even know where you are, man. I'm like...
From like the stairs, you just take the first bridge and go across.
Hmm.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Oh. Soap.
Other guy here?
I got other key items.
I thought there was an invader up
well,
here.
there's the Dragon Slayer armor.
I thought there was a guy up here. Oh.
Oh.
Am I crazy?
Are you in the swamp now?
I'm like up top. You can see me if you look up.
Oh.
Go back up the stairs a little bit. And then look around. No.
Oh my god.
See, go down the stairs.
I gotta kill this idiot.
Okay, stop. Yeah.
Where?
Up. We gotta look pretty. I'm up.
Oh, way over there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're by Leda or whatever.
I thought there was like an invader up here, but not.
I think it's a regular NPC, but I think he's still. That's how you say
yeah,
right?
I don't see anybody here, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe Leto just jumped off the cliff or something. And that was
Yeah. Maybe that was the
item
pants.
that looted. Yeah. Lighting the bonfire.
Oh, I'm coming over there. I'll show you the Greatbow glitch.
Oh. What the heck? Am I stuck? Oh.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna have to get rid of everything in our inventory.
Should I equip a Greatbow?
Uh,
Or are you just gonna do it and I'll watch?
yeah, I mean, if you want to try it, I can show you. Or I can tell you how to set it up. I'm trying to see if I can even remember how to do this. Oh, we got a doggo coming.
Oh, silent doggo. Oh.
I don't know if I did it. Wait, do I need the stats to use this thing? Shit, I might.
What the? I've got the stats for it.
Maybe I would... Okay, well, you need... Okay, so you need a bow in your left... Yeah, maybe you could try it.
The repeater in the right?
Yeah, so repeater in the right hand and like a normal bow in the left hand.
Okay.
And then you need great arrows equipped.
Great arrows equipped. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, so you two-hand the repeating crossbow, and you press L2, and then backstep. You cancel the L2 with the backstep.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, cancel the L2 with the backstep, and then stand completely still, and then swap your repeating crossbow for a Greatbow.
Okay. Like in the menu or toggle it?
In the menu, yeah.
Okay. Do I need to like hear the sound?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. For a Greatbow. Got it.
And then you backstep, and while you backstep, hold forward and press L2.
While the Greatbow is one-handed?
Yes, I believe so.
Backstep, hold forward, and L2. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to scratch his head. What? How did...
Oh, okay, wait. You actually need to let the full animation play out. So you need to shoot the thing.
Okay, okay.
So L2, R1.
Oh, L2.
And then backstep after. It's done.
Oh, shit.
Did you only have one equipped?
said I need... Oh, wait, these bolts or what?
Yeah, you need bolts equipped
I've got
below,
10
I
and
think.
16.
Okay,
I
wait.
need to let it shoot all the way?
Yeah, yeah.
Not... Okay, let's see.
Wait, why is it shooting just one? Yeah, okay, load it first.
Okay, loaded.
And then press L2 and R1. Okay, wait, now press L2. Okay, what the fuck is going on? Why is it not rapid firing? Do you just press L2 to rapid? How do you use the weapon art?
I'm holding L2 and this happens. Do you hold L2 and then press R1? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't... Oh, okay.
Ah, shit, I did too. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I think 2 back steps. It doesn't actually matter how many... You just can't do any movement inputs.
Hold on, alright, okay.
Okay. Now swap to the Greatbow.
Greatbow.
And then backstep, and during the backstep, hold forward and press L2.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, you just shot 10 great arrows.
Nice.
Yeah, and that can do, like, if you have the Greatbow fully upgraded, that does like 15. It does like 15,000 damage or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, I got confused. On the old patch, you could actually interrupt like the firing process with the backstep, but they changed that for current patch for some reason. Yeah.
Nice. Glitch showcase seamless co-op. Oh, Silvercat ring. Yo.
Oh.
It's enabled.
Nice. Well, I mean, we could go try it now if we want.
Maybe after the next bonfire.
Okay. I think it's overpowered.
Dragon Slayer armor for sure.
What? My weapon? The great axe?
Then.
Oh yeah.
What's in the little like cathedral over here? Is there a powerful enemy?
Oh yeah, the cat ring is super good. It's like having the spook spell, but permanently active. Just crazy.
Oh, it's a Pontiff dog. Wait. Oh, I thought that was Gale right here. It's not.
Yeah, well, the ring also increases your lethal fall distance, Salad. I don't know how much DS3 you played, but you can actually, like, survive, like, higher falls with the ring on as well.
Dog.
In addition to it reducing all, like, negating all fall damage.
What the hitbox? Yeah, the rest is probably from bosses.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we just kind of go through the bosses, and we'll I mean, we have the archives key too, so just make our way through the stuff. We'll probably get the cinder. But yeah, I mean, we can get the shortcut, and I can show you that skip if you want. Now that we got the cat ring.
Beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The skip is actually so much more comfy to do because you don't have a million archers shooting at you. All right, guys, here we go.
Yeah, mausoleum.
Surely this will go well.
Let's see. Let me slap it on.
Oh, I need to actually go get my broadsword. Oops.
I've never seen Midir here, and he's there. What? Is that because we progress in the level?
What, on the back side of the thing?
Yeah, from right over
like
there.
the spot I was showing you?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
no,
right there.
Right
oh,
here.
oh no, I guess that's good. Yeah, because we progressed and then came back.
Huh.
I guess you normally wouldn't do.
Never seen him there. Interesting.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I think that's just like the normal spot he's perched, but never seen it from this angle.
Oh, there was a tome here. I didn't get that till now. There we go.
Nice. Okay. So the spot I know of actually is right here. So just watch carefully how I do this. So there's like right here you'll get kind of like stuck on the wall. So you want to run into it and then aim a little bit to the right.
Okay.
And jump.
Okay.
Oh, I failed. All right, but you got this. All right, I'll be back.
I got it.
You should land on like a little tiny ledge if you do it right. Oh, you got it. Actually, nice.
Yeah, I got it.
Man, Lobos is just too good. To scream skip
I'm
second
ready.
try, hits this first try. Okay, I will be back.
I'm holding down the fort.
Oh my god, I'm failing. The pressure. There we go. All right. Okay. Oh yeah, careful. I might hit your head when I jump down.
I moved.
Okay.
Yeah. I was making a joke about knocking you off that way.
Okay. Nice. So, all right.
Okay.
You need to walk off. Oh my god. Hopefully I remember exactly. It's like.
You land on that corner down there?
No, it's like an invisible ledge.
Okay.
Think. All right. Well, I'm just gonna try. Hopefully this works.
All right.
And how do I walk? Hold on. Oh, right. Left alt. Okay.
Oh. What?
All right. Well, so there's a ledge you need to land on, and I missed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
It might be a little bit more to the right. I think it's more to the right.
Okay, I died. Yeah, I went slightly more to the right, but it was not enough. It's okay.
There's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the giga fast strat. But yeah, you land like directly where the Chloranthy +3 is, and that little statue thing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
You want to try again?
Yeah, absolutely. We're skipping.
If we fuck it up, I'll check a video just just to see.
Oh, I like how the souls get plopped there.
Yeah, if you quit out, you'll just get sent back to where the ladder was. Oh my god, I fucking missed again. Dude! Alright, Lobos, he'll hit this though. He's built different.
I didn't.
Actually, we don't need to ember at least. There's no point.
Oh, I didn't remember.
Okay. Yeah. You already know.
I haven't been embering most of the time, to be honest. With so much health.
Yeah, I've been spamming them like crazy. Okay. I checked a video.
Okay.
I got it. I remember.
Nice. Okay, I did the first jump.
Okay. Nice. I hope I don't mess up this first jump. I'm like scared of it now. Failed it twice.
Death is scary. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Can you share your screen with me? Maybe.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Ahem. Oh gosh.
Okay. So, okay, yeah, that angle that you're at right now actually looks pretty good. I think you might want to, yeah, just run straight off, or well, not run, just walk.
Full speed walk or like?
Yeah, you can just hold W. I think that looks pretty good. There you go, and roll to the left.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Boom.
Nice.
He's done it.
Easy.
All right. Yeah, you can go up the elevator and get the bonfire.
And it's mid-ear time. I know there's a mimic back in that like spiral area. And,
we do have to actually
do bridge mid-ear?
Well, there is a way to get to Midir without killing Bridge Midir, but I don't know if we want. That one's a little.
Go on.
I mean, do you want? I can show you if you want. It's a little scary, but we could try.
I fear nothing.
Okay, well, teleport us back to the same bonfire then.
I have to go away and then come back.
Or,
Oh, you
well,
have like
the one we were at before.
Millisecond ping.
Ping?
On my screen. Yeah, your ping.
Yeah, you can go back to the start of the DLC bonfire.
Oh, the start. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, did it kick me out?
Oh, maybe that's why. Yeah.
No
Okay.
sessions found.
I'll redo it.
Okay.
3-year latency. How did you play seamless co-op before it existed? Right, I'm closing it. All right, and it is reopened.
Okay. I'll check the video for this skip real quick as well.
Now, I need a game that I can show you skips in.
Yeah.
I need seamless co-op for Eternal Ring. I mean, none of the skips are very... Okay, some of them are kind of crazy.
Hark. They brought thee here, did they not? Dost thou the gods serve? Or merely that role affect? Yes.
Oh, I was like, what am I
Yes,
hearing?
of
I can
course.
hear your
Oh, you can
stream
hear him?
audio. Wait, I can't join. What the heck's going on?
Oh, right, that's what I'm streaming with. Yeah.
Huh. No sessions found. I guess I'll put out. Oh, wait. Oh, he left the call.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. We might need to restart our
I just-
games.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Holy
Wait a
shit,
minute.
This is so hot.
Yeah, I'm
oh
getting
yeah,
no
when I
sessions.
do it, it doesn't do anything. So, like it just doesn't activate. I'm re-logging if that doesn't work.
I'm
I'll
just gonna restart DS3.
The problem's definitely on my end because
I
wasn't even
think
creating
so,
a
yeah.
session. Yeah, I'm gonna restart DS3.
I don't know if we should try to do the skip chat, but we'll try it for a little bit. It's kind of tough, to be honest, but we can try.
Okay, I am starting a session. It looks like it worked this time.
The thing is, we both need to do the skip. So.
Because we're glitching too much, probably breaking it.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. This one is I don't know. Hopefully we can do it. It's a little tricky though.
Is it the same ladder setup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, different jump. It's the first jump spot we did in that other corner.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting good at it.
I'm getting better.
Yo, Hoogs, thank you for the 42 months.
I don't remember exactly how you jumped.
It's just like, yeah, it's really
pretty
free.
straightforward. Right.
Okay, so we gotta walk over here. And so we need to set up our left foot. See how my left foot is like on this texture?
Yes.
Like this?
Yeah.
So
Right.
then, yeah, I'm gonna take off my clothes actually. You want your head to be, how can I?
You can share your
I'll share my screen this time, yeah.
Waiting. Okay, I see.
Okay. So you want your head lined up with like the corner of this pillar here.
Yeah.
And then you want to open your menu and like buffer your sprint. And then you just run straight off. And hopefully if I do this right, we'll see. But that I landed on the right spot, but I don't think I rolled correctly.
So what?
Hold on. Oh, you don't want to roll. You just want to walk. Here, actually, wait. Can I show you?
I'm lined up. Oh.
Here, I'll show you something here. I'll just show you the actual skip.
Waiting. Okay. All right.
Okay, so you land like I landed, but instead you just wait and you just like hold W in that direction, and your character will like walk off.
Okay. He walked like slightly to the right of that pillar. I don't know how.
Yeah, and then you'll land down here basically, and then I guess you can just hold. You can wait there. Well, I can show you the rest. So you jump, and you land on this part.
Yeah.
And then you hug the right wall here.
Okay.
You're like wedged between two walls, and then you gotta like, yeah. So if you go too far here, you'll die. There's like fall protection area, so you need to drop down soon enough. That makes sense.
Oh, wait, did he jump or is he just
no? Just you just like walk and fall, and then that's that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Seems easy enough.
Yeah, super easy.
Steps, that's all. So you buffered the sprint with the start menu, huh?
Yeah,
okay,
and you want to use keyboard mouse as well.
All right. So run straight off, and then I can just kind of let go and fall all the way down.
Yeah.
I fell. I think my facing got messed up.
Okay. Well, we'll both meet up, and we can give it another go. We can give this a few tries. It's kind of tricky, but we could probably do it. It's not as bad as it looks.
I'm not hitting it now.
You got this.
Yeah. I lost it. It's not big. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so free jump by the tree. All right. Yeah, let me see where you're at, because I put my foot in the
Yeah,
thing.
I shared my screen again. So you want like the back left of your foot with the texture there.
Okay. That's after you've lined up?
I mean, as I'm like, I just kind of aim in the general direction of the spot while I'm lining up my feet and then like adjust.
All right. Sure.
All right, I'm gonna go for it.
Go for it. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna buffer the run, and okay, nice. And then roll off towards that.
No, don't roll. Just
Oh.
You just walk. There you go. Okay, nice. And come down to me.
There.
Yep. Okay. Right. So this is another tricky part. Like, basically, you got to jump late here, but obviously not too late.
Okay. He jumps like in between the arch, right? Like someone.
Yeah. So you can like line up your jump here. Then hopefully that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, to the right. Oh, okay. And just roll down.
Yep. Okay. Are you on the wall?
Right.
You're on the wall. Nice. Okay. So just now right here, just walk. Oh no.
Oh
no.
Wait, you're sliding. Oh no.
I might be dead.
Oh no. Oh.
I'm dead. Wait, move.
Okay.
Yeah, so go a little bit further forward. Oh no, we were right there. I fucked it up.
The pillar?
Oh.
Okay. Here, I'll share screen.
Oh no, man, we had it. I can't believe I fucked it up. I mean, you can wait down there for me if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't take me too long.
Is this the last part? You just
Yeah,
fall?
yeah, yep. You just fall. So we were literally right there. I think I got it now though. I should be able to get back. No problem.
Oh no! I fell. Oh. No, I didn't mean to go.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We got this. We got this.
Whee! The slow slide to death. I feel good about it now, though.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
Okay, this looks good.
Okay. Going. No.
Oh no.
Slightly to the left.
The fucking death sound. Sorry, I should have been looking at your stream. Maybe I could have helped her.
Nah, it's good.
All right, we're gonna get it though. We're so close.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just a run back time. It's
Yeah, it's a little annoying.
only downside.
Oh, Chad, I can't believe I fucked up, man. We were right there, dude. We should have had it. Lobos did it, dude, and I fucking failed. I went too early, man. I thought I knew. We had the skip. It's okay. We got this.
Coming back.
Oh, you're not. I don't think you're on the right spot.
Well, okay.
Oh, you're lining it up
I was
different.
going to do that because you said that like you kind of walk towards it.
I definitely
corner.
line up. No, definitely line up your foot with that spot I told you about.
First, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were saying you walked forward while. Okay. In that case, I think that's good, or
a little bit more to the right.
To the right.
Yeah, your foot's too far left. Like your left foot is too far left.
Oh, positionally.
Yeah.
Right.
Like yeah, that looks better. Yep.
Okay.
That's good right there.
And then line up head at that.
Yep. Okay. I think that looks good.
No.
Oh.
Interesting.
Huh. But you can run back up and just jump through again. I was gonna say it might have been
too
too far right, but I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Let me screen share this for you, chat. See Lobos.
Okay, so that
A little bit more to the right positionally. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
Okay.
Lining up the head like that.
That maybe a bit more, a tiny, like ever so slightly to the left. Okay. Yeah, like that. I think that's good. Send that.
All right. Nice.
Okay.
And then just walk.
Yep.
Right.
You can hold left alt and press W. Or okay, you're still good. Nice.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Nice.
All right.
All right. Stick to the right wall.
Right. On the right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
So.
Oh.
So go. Make sure to go far enough.
Oh no! I didn't know it was.
No.
Floating. I didn't press left at all.
Oh.
Okay.
Fuck.
You like auto fell. I thought you
Yeah.
don't like.
I think you just have to kind of commit to it. Just like just hold, but don't sprint. Just like walk forward and you'll just like kind of fall straight into it. All right, it's okay. I got you up on the stream.
All right.
We're all cheering you on, bud.
Gonna happen.
Let's get some peepo cheers in the chat for Lobos. Lobos is becoming a professional speedrunner. Okay. Bit more to the right, positionally. You want your foot with like on like the edge of the texture. Your left foot. Really? Yeah. Or like not. You want like the foot inside the left edge. Yeah, like that.
Like this. Okay.
Maybe move a tiny bit further forward. So you're like the back heel is like touching the back of the texture, if that makes sense. Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Maybe a.
Oh. Shit.
It's all right.
Oh, I pressed the wrong. All right, so.
That looks good. That's good. Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. Nice.
So you can hold left alt and just W. That's fine.
Oh, okay. I was scared. Wait. Oh yeah. It looks weird at this angle. That's it, right?
Yeah, you're good. Right. That's the spot. Oh, hopefully that wasn't too early. You're okay. Nice. Okay.
Okay.
And so just hold against the right wall and just walk. Just keep walking. But hold, not slow, not too slow. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
you got it. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go.
Nice. Okay, so yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh my goodness, loading. We did it.
All right, now let's ember up. Wait, I can't even ember. What the?
Oh, me neither. We got to break the.
Oh, because we have the
ladder
glitch. Wait, we can use ember if it's in our inventory, in our hotbar.
Oh, on the hotbar.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay.
All right. Heck yeah.
Ooh. Oh, it's dancer.
How much time did they save? Yeah, so much.
Oh, hey. Wow, no stagger off that. Easy. Dark Eater Dancer. Oh, I have 3 bone shards.
Oh, the giant's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have 4, actually.
Oh, 4. Jesus. It's gonna turn in, maybe.
Sure.
Oops.
All that for a 1-minute fight. Yeah, let me turn off my stream.
Oh, sure. I didn't leave the call. Hello.
Passion. Welcome. Then take. Farewell, Ashen Mick.
You Prince Mother. I like
Wow.
money.
+9. No problem.
Damn.
Ready?
Yeah, should we go kill Halflight and Gale?
Yes. Then archives and beyond.
Yo, Metis, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you, man.
Fuck off! Fucking hell! Fuck!
Wait. I don't think this is...
Oh, wait.
Holy shit,
oh,
because you activated the elevator, right?
Yeah, I did.
Unless there's something else down here. I mean, maybe Bridgemandir... He doesn't
There's a
drop
mimic.
anything, does he?
Oh, Bridge Midir? I don't think so.
Okay.
'Cause he falls, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Nothing on the path to Midir here, right? Oh, bye.
I just wanted to get the item down here.
Oh, sure.
Oh, wait, there's nothing even here. What the?
What?
Yeah,
I looted something when I was there.
maybe it gave it to me.
Who else is left? We haven't had champion yet, have we? Champion Gundyr.
No.
There he is. Ooh, Gundyr Spear of the Church. That works. Oh my god.
This is
What?
this is just bullying, man.
All right. Wait, what was that effect? There was like a holy effect on me. I don't know. I got cleansed by something.
I don't know. Oh, I'm not a stat showing the cutscene.
What? Oh, right. I forgot.
Is that the crawl?
Yeah, the crawling dude. The dude over here dropped a slab, right?
I don't know. Actually,
It's like a black knight that's over here usually. Do we have to kill the crucifixion lady before Gale?
I don't know. We can just in case. I don't think it matters though.
Gib. What? Oh, there it is.
Oh, come up to the bonfire.
Yep.
There's another glitch I can show you.
Ooh.
This one's kind of hard to do though. It's a bit silly, but so if you rest at a bonfire by turning to it, see how I'm like standing like this and my character turns? So that activates a glitch. And if you pivot, if you have a bow in your left hand,
okay,
like so, and you do a pivot like this, and then you roll.
Wait 1 sec. I'm in menus right now. So you do a 180 pivot?
Yeah, so 180 like this, roll, and hold L2 and backwards on the joystick.
Okay. Oops. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a speed walking glitch. And you can chain them together, but it's really it's really hard. You have to do like a neutral roll. Like it only works if you, or the only way you can chain it, I mean it's kind of pointless, like not like we're gonna do it, but you have to press the B button to roll, but then press the forward on the stick after. Basically, if you do any like movement inputs, like your character moves whatsoever, it breaks the glitch.
So you have to do before you want to go.
No, or it can be like any direction, but it's the inputs are really hard to do. I can't even do it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. It's
Fun.
used in like the speed run. I think everybody that does it uses keyboard mouse though. But yeah, you can just chain them together.
Oh,
Yeah. It saves like loads of time throughout the run. It's like really hard to do though, because you can only get the boost in like a straight line. Man, you can chain it instead by backstepping and then doing the input again afterward.
Ridiculous. I hate when movement tech like that is found and it's like, well, That's how you play the game now.
Yeah. It's a different category at least, so you don't have to.
Oh,
But you just
he parried me. That's a lot of twinklies.
Well, just kill this guy and then we can go to the archives, eh?
Yeah,
I guess. We'll probably find the cinder in the archives.
yeah. There's bone dust, Estus shard.
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
Oh, here. I'm gonna sacred oath you. Come here.
Is that stacked with power within?
I think so.
Ooh. Whoa! Rude.
All right, no storm ruler allowed. Head hits only. I love killing this guy without the storm ruler, actually.
Yeah, it's fun to hit his hand or whatever.
Yeah. Most weapons can hit him in the head when he does this attack right here.
Oh yeah.
Funny enough, the hand with the cleaver actually takes more poise damage.
Oh really? It's all charred. I guess.
Nice hit.
Nice. Oh, right.
Right.
Ooh. Oh. Oh, okay. Beamy boy.
For big damage.
Holy shit. Bye. God. Easy game.
Yep.
All right. Archives. Nice hat swap.
Yeah, we totally need the levels at this point.
Well, I mean your new bishop.
Oh, thank you.
Oh right, the crystal sage. What? Oh. Okay. They moved. Wait.
Is that the sage? That I
No,
just
the
killed?
sage disappeared. I hit him once.
Oh, okay.
It's the wolf
Oh,
from the DLC.
the big one?
Yeah, the big one.
Hmm. do so much damage.
Where's the switch? It's over here somewhere.
I got it.
Okay. Oh, chests. That's right.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about chests.
Me too.
There might be some we missed in the DLC.
Yes. You know the spot with like 3 illusory walls? Where you get, I think, like a bow spell?
Yeah, after you knock Madeira down, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like, those are chests, right? No? Maybe not.
I don't know. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's the one.
I know there's some chests up in, like, the rafter area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did he just...
Yeah, he just instant teleport.
Oh.
Is there a chest here in the room that has like the ice, the frozen bro? Like there's one you pull a lever, I think, to get to.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's right here.
Oh god. Should have gotten waxed. Oh yeah, there. Give up. Ashen Estus.
I never noticed this guy like moans.
Snoring.
Or
Yeah.
snores, yeah. What the...
Well, yeah. Moans is probably more appropriate.
Oh yeah, there's is it a chest below the elevator in that one spot?
What? Oh. Okay. Should still give. Yeah, alright. Great sword. Oh, I see. I thought I was on the other side of this for that. Now I know where I'm at. Oh, I think I know. Are you talking about the first elevator before you enter the
Oh,
archive?
I'm stuck.
Oh wait. Oh. Oh. Or not. What?
It's like the elevator, the one that's
The red
closest to
cruiser?
Prince's. Yeah, the RTSR one.
Yeah.
I think it's just a normal pickup though, maybe.
There is a chest there, and I got it much earlier.
Oh, okay.
I think it's normally like a Titanite something.
Oh, there's right here.
Yeah.
What? Both of us?
Whoop. Double hug. Oh dear. There have been a lot of tree ladies.
Do you have bleed water?
Oh, I do. Oh wait, higher with it? I mean, Pyroclane? Does that work? Oh, it doesn't. Oh.
It's funny because I think Pyroflame does work in DS2 for something.
Huh.
I think it's
DS2?
Oh, if you get oil effect on yourself, you can blow yourself up if you take out Pyroflame.
Oh. Fair enough. Tales for days.
I don't normally go this way. Wait, is there? Can
Wait, we need to go inside this window, right?
Yeah.
Or not? This blind bone dust. Oh. Wait. Oh, never mind. Oh. I did the wrong window. I'm coming back. I gotta go all the way around.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, no, I backtracked. I thought the window was behind us, but it was actually the...
Well, yeah, we were looking
door
right
we
at it.
started
I
at.
was... Okay, it's all good. Oh wait, I can kick down the ladder? Oh, maybe it's too late now. What?
Oh. Okay. Shard.
Are these NPCs powerful enemies?
I don't know.
Let's kill them.
I don't think they respawn, so... Are we getting whopped? Someone's spamming whop.
Yeah.
Wait, are they fighting us?
Oh.
Are you fighting them? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna activate the shortcut just in case.
Yeah, this is kind of
Fuck up
dangerous.
here.
This pyro hits like a truck. Oh my god, how many S's? Holy... Vilhelm. Oh, jeez. What the... Ow.
Yeah, these guys are so strong.
I'm almost...
More than
I'm out of
usual, I
heals now.
feel like. That was a good hit.
No. Oh, ashes? Pig? Okay. Oh, it's Havel. Oh, shit.
Getting his attention.
Insane damage. Oh, okay.
I think we're at max Estus now.
Nice. Did you already...
Yeah, we should probably take it and heal up, I think.
Yeah. I'm out of heals.
I thought those guys normally gave, like, refills. Guess not. Hey, Wildfire, thank you for the 28 months, man. Thank you, buddy.
All right. What are you doing after this?
Repo?
Repo?
if you want, I'm down.
We lost our last run, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I'm down to start from scratch. I was telling my chat I might start a hardcore Valheim run. Permadeath, I mean.
Nice. Yeah, I was actually thinking about doing that as well. Wait, we could do a duo.
Oh. More duo content. It never ends. Have you ever played Minecraft? Oh, Cinders.
Look
hello.
at that. All right,
There you
GG.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Have I played what? Minecraft, do you say? I had a friend who got me to play on a hardcore PvP Minecraft server, where if you died, you got banned for 3 days.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. I spent like 3 hours building a giant, like 64 by 64 sand pitfall in front of our base, and like a giant army of people came, and I dumped them all in the sand pit and got like 8 kills. It was amazing.
That's awesome. The reason I brought it up is there's a newish game called. It's not that new. I think it used to be a Minecraft mod, but they took it out and made its own thing. But it's called Vintage Story. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
Supposedly Minecraft for adults, like more bleak, dark Minecraft.
That sounds
cool. I heard
cool.
really good things about it yesterday, and I've never really played Minecraft, so it would be kind of a whole new thing for me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I played it a long time ago, back in like, I mean, it was like the very early stuff. I did do some like mod packs, I think, but that was still probably like 8 years ago now.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we're gonna get really easy bosses for the last several, because
yeah,
we had a lot of the hard ones already. Wait, Halflight? Wait, oh, because we randoed. That's right.
Oh yeah, we can get Halflight.
We got
on
rid
this
of
one.
him. Wow. Okay, but we are ready this time.
It'll spawn somewhere around here, or maybe out of bounds. I'll just die.
Follow his stuff. Hello? Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, almost got parried.
It's kind of tanky.
Yeah, really tanky.
If you get the, I think it's like the Astora's greatsword, you can actually just unlock this guy to death.
Yeah,
with the charge.
I did a run with that for sure.
Yeah.
I remember the Abyss Watcher is also getting unlocked.
Yeah, I think you do it to Friede a little bit too.
No. Oh no.
Oh no! I'm actually dead!
Jesus!
He fucking comboed it! What the? Alright, you got this.
What the hell?
How is that? How can he combo 2 weapon arts together? What is that?
Is that good?
So much health. Holy shit.
Oh dear.
Are you on like 40 vigor?
Oh, me? Yeah, probably. Oh, wait. Yep, 40 vigor.
God damn.
I don't even remember how I normally fight this boss. I think I wait for him to do the two-handed...
The bow.
What is he doing?
He's, hitting you with the moonwalk.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, no. I don't want this to take a long time, because then if I die, it's going to suck a lot. Oh,
well,
God.
I mean, if you want to die, you can.
I probably will. I'm just going to be super aggressive.
Okay.
Instead of waiting for him to... Oh, well. Get out of your lightning.
If we die...
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say we could go back and upgrade the store greatsword and just bully him.
Oh, wait. Was it? Oh, no. Yeah. Was it in the shop?
I thought we got it at some point, but maybe not.
We were not prepared, dude. Luckily, I got the shortcut elevator, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna-
Oh, I think this one's faster. I mean, unless you don't want to run past the enemies.
Oh, you're right. It's the other one.
Yeah, it's dumb. Like it bothers me that the one that's closer is slower. This has been like the hardest boss.
Yeah.
Halflight is actually just does so much damage.
Yeah. Silent Hill F reveal in 3 hours? Really?
Oh yeah.
Is that the one with the scarlet blossoms or the cherry blossom stuff? Oh shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure which one that is.
Oh.
Not again.
Oh! Yeah. Oh. No! You're in this stuff. Okay. He's a god. Other painting guardians up. What the? Oh. Oh! Oh no! Jeez. Yeah, he's like a truck. Here we go. Nice.
Nice combo.
From the phase 2, right?
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Nice.
It's phase 1 though, so she's pretty weak, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Damn.
Goodbye.
Right. Obliterated. All right, just Firelink, right?
Yep.
That's it. See, next time, Irregulator. If you want, like...
Craziness.
You've never done any Irregulator run?
I did it in DS2, I think.
Nah, that's not a regulator.
All right. Well, I mean, I think there was one in DS2 though, right?
There's like a Randomizer thing.
Okay.
For 2 and 1, but it doesn't do what a regulator do.
Okay.
It's only for 3 and Elden Ring that are like the worthy ones. Like.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, I gotta place the thing.
They removed the "you do not need to hold W." Oh, that's good.
I'll go up to start from
Holy
dorm.
shit, this is so hot.
Yeah, it's pure chaos, which may not be fun, but
come look at the trades, dude.
Oh,
I mean, it's just kind of silly.
is it like a million slabs?
Yeah.
Because I remember when
How'd
I
you
had
know?
2 there, and I was like, wow. Should buy them all. Wow, the slab shop.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Holy shit. Well,
My bad.
game over. I don't know if that's you're bad, but
The fire. The
wait. Oh, you have
farewell,
to.
Ashen
Oh,
one.
Neil. There we go.
There's actually in the speed run you kill her to speed something up. I can't remember when you do it though.
Oh shit. Does it skip the cutscene or something? Oh yeah, you can just like homeward bone at this point, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. It actually teleported me. I took the risk.
Right.
I forgot that like usually I had to teleport. But
Yeah.
It worked out. It worked out.
All right, Lobos,
Wait, let
have
me
you?
see? Hold on, let me see. You... Yeah, you are pretty ugly. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah. Equip a white branch. We're gonna. So this is how I decide the fate of the Firekeeper. With the eyeballs. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
You will be the decider with your white branch.
Depending on what I turn into. Oh. Wait a minute.
Watchers.
Oh. We reset after Abyss Watch.
My weapon art.
So much less damage. Oh my god.
That it?
That should be FP too, yeah. Wow. Alright, should I transform?
You can do it right over here.
Alright.
All right, transform. What's it gonna be? Oh. I can show you what the other one is. Hold on. She gets to live. Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Very well.
Yeah.
No rip. GG. Night
Yeah, it
rain
was fun.
soon.
Yeah,
79
man.
days.
Night Rain's gonna be so much fun. I do hope it stays fun for a while though. Like it's gonna be a blast. I'm a little worried it might get boring after you know, like a few weeks, but we'll see.
There'll be updates too, so
Yeah.
I hope there are some like fun achievements to go for. Like I was thinking like it'd be cool if they had, you know, beat it with 3 recluse or like do it with 3. So like kind of incentivize doing different builds and stuff.
I think it'd be cool if they had some sort of like heat level mechanic, like Hades does. Where you can kind of, I don't really know how. Okay, so it's like modifiers you can put on that add, you know, restrictions and things to make it harder.
Yeah, that would be super nice. And if nothing else, we could just put modifiers ourselves on, like no, no increasing Estus or I don't know, things like that.
The first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle.
Are we both in this cutscene?
I think so. I see the grave. Oh, 2 graves. Oh God.
But one
ominous.
Day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by Lord's Pass.
She gets to live, although I feel like Lobos might kill her anyways. Whee! I knew you were gonna do that. I fucking knew it, dude.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do that, so I did it.
I wasn't. I just I told my chat, I was like, I'm just gonna wait and see if Lobos.
Gimme.
Stinky feet.
Nameless,
Yeah, so stinky.
accursed undead.
Especially since I'm made of
unfit
cheese.
even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Oh yeah, Lobos is a murder fiend.
Brutal.
Whenever we do co-op,
Nice.
it kills all the
wait.
poor defenseless animals.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
wait,
know what's
she's
going
alive?
on.
I can hit her?
I can't even
20.
see anything.
Yeah, if you attack, you can hit, and then there's a health bar.
Oh, you're a black screen too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Hold
Well,
on.
that
I'm
is
leaving.
weird.
Running
Okay.
around.
Wait, isn't the bonfire close?
Wait. hold
Well,
on. Might be running off the cliff. I don't know where I am.
yeah,
Anyways.
yeah. Well, we destroyed the flame. Rip the lightness.
Get out of here. I think I kicked you. Yeah. All right. I'll talk over the repo.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a few minutes to
Same.
probably prep some lunch and stuff. So
I'm gonna get a drink. I'll take a break.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Join whenever. All right, chat. Repo time.